Hello, welcome to the WABCOWÜRTH Web Event. Thank you that you took your time to stay with us today. My name is Ralf Niklaus. I'm the product trainer from WABCOWÜRTH. Today I have assistants with me, my colleague.
My name is Uwe Blas. I'm the colleague of Ralf, and I'm also product trainer. Hello together.
So we had already some sessions today. The topic for this session now is the additional equipment which we offer to use with our COOLIUS devices. All the equipment which we show you will work, well, almost all will work with all the devices we have. There's only one exception, but we will talk about that. The first topic which I would talk about is our analyzers. Why do we need the analyzers in general? What could you suggest for our customers?
Of course, look into the passenger cars. We have a European regulation and homologation where the gas or the refrigerant as such, the kind of gas is part of the homologation. So we need to stick with this material. The vehicle is coming from the factory. And there, the demand is a purity degree of 95% or higher, first of all. Second, of course, we need to avoid a mixing up of these refrigerants in the service unit, because this is, of course, destroying the reserve inside the unit and makes it not usable again. Then this refrigerant in the machine is subject to disposal and needs to be disposed over a professional service, also quite costly. So it makes sense before we start any job just to look at the refrigerant we are about to treat. And starting with a small device, this is a handheld identifier, which is really simply doing this analysis, saying, okay, above 95, yes, below 95, no. So this is the difference to the analyzer we were showing on the COOLIUS Y50. And this is the entry model. It's all operated manually, and we will live demonstrate this now here. You see, this is the standby mode. It says this machine is powered. We press next. So there's a warm-up phase, because all these devices have one thing in common. They need a measurement temperature of approximately 40 degrees, because this is an infrared measurement chamber. And this is common to all of them. The next better device is that one here. Here you'll see the difference. We have a manual pump for calibration. This is an electrical pump inside, doing this calibration in the background. And we have a pre-filter, a fine filter, which is exactly the same like we have on Y50A. And this here is just without any protection. So in case you would find something else than gas, which will make sense to interrupt the process. And here we have some safety in the background. Yeah, then the warm up is okay. Then if you want to have more information than just yes or no, then we have another possibility.
Here we have the COOLIUS Y50A device. In here, we have built in another analyzer, which is built in the machine. You see here, there is the device built in with a pre-filter inside to take out any liquid which could come via the hoses into the device. As well, we have a second stage of filter. You see it here. Even here, any other liquid than gas will be separated as well. If you see here as a customer any kind of liquid of dirt or whatever, you can dismount it, clean it up, and take care about the system. And as a last step, we have the same fine filter as Uwe already explained on the other device, the mobile device. Here, if that one gets colored in any kind of color, that's the last point where you have to take action and clean up the system, change filters, whatever is needed. The benefit here is you don't have only a yes or no device. You don't have only a display which indicates you the values of the gases. You have a printout. On the printout, it's written which type of gas is in, the purity grade, which is the gas, and if you have something unknown or some other type of gas built in here. This is important to know, as Uwe already explained. To have a purity of a 95%, that's the measurement which is needed. He already explained that's one topic of the environment behavior, not to use the wrong gas. It's also a topic of the environment internal of the machine. Imagine you have an expensive gas filling in here and you put in gas from a contaminated vehicle. The whole filling of the machine, 5, 6, 7 kilos, is waste because you cannot fill it up into another vehicle. That's contaminated AC liquid and has to be disposed. Exactly. But that's a different topic. We will pick it up later on. It looks like the machine is already ready for the next stage.
Yeah, we have the heating up procedure already passed. Now I'm just pumping some fresh air into the measurement chamber, and I confirm this, and then this is the so-called calibrating step. My environmental air is the zero gas I use here to set a 0 point, because what we do here, we measure the gas against the 0 point, and this is our result then. This takes another few minutes, and during this time we could also talk about the optical evaluation of refrigerant, because what we do here is we just check the composition of the gas we are treating. But there's another important topic. We also need to analyze the quality, and the quality can be evaluated by this here. Okay, this is a brand new vehicle. This is crystal clear like water, and this is how refrigerant and oil mixture should look like. And you can recognize by the, okay, it's not visible in the camera, but you can see the share of oil inside this liquid here. You can see the pressure, the entry pressure, and if this is above 5 bars, of course, you can expect liquid. And if not, you have the entry condition. Maybe it's still enough for the identifier, but it's not enough anymore for the device to run. And if the system is not running anymore, yeah, we would go into further steps, because an empty system is always suspicious for some malfunction, for defect, for a leakage or whatever. So now it's analyzing and expects me to open this valve. We always attach the probe at low pressure, because low pressure we expect gas only, not liquid. And this is what's the precondition. If we would connect this to a high pressure line where there's liquid inside, then this would not be helpful, because this is a gas analyzer. It's not analyzing liquid. So, and this analysis step is filling the measurement chamber now. And if the level is equal, it's not changing anymore, then the measurement starts. And this is the point when this light will go off, and then we will have the result above there. So this is a very nice handy device you can use in the entry booth of your workshop, or you can also use if you are buying in a used car from a customer. You just check what's the condition and use this together with the other one, because to have an expensive repair on a customer car you just are about to purchase in does not really make sense. Of course, if you have then to deduct something, this is painful for the customer, but it saves some money on your side.
So it saves you beside or towards the vehicle, to the end customer. It saves your own equipment for damage. So on any way, it saves your pocket. In my opinion, this is very useful together also with the inspector, what we have seen. If you do that in the pre-check of the vehicle, there you can define together with your customer already in the beginning. Come on, it's only a service, that amount of money. Oh, we see some suspicious topics. We see some color changing in the liquid of the air condition. We see particles inside. So that's the point when we can see, hey, customer, this is not only a service. There are upcoming costs on you. We have to go deeper into the diagnosis to find out what is the reason of these failures.
So the refrigerant has proven to be within the range of purity. So it says okay to us. Otherwise, we would have a red LED and the cross. The color is also okay because, as Ralph already mentioned, the oil it's a synthetic oil, and the temperature range is not comparable to a normal engine oil, which goes up to 220 degrees. This oil only goes up to 80, 90 degrees. And if the compressor once overheats for whatever reason, maybe if the refrigerant is getting lower and lower, then the lubrication of the compressor is not granted anymore, then it creates heat. And if it's overheated, then this has an effect on the color of the oil. It could be from dark brown until black. You can have any kind of color inside. And as long as no mechanical parts are affected, you could do a repair with very low effort, just flushing the system, refilling a new oil and refilling new refrigerant, everything will be fine. Of course, also exchange the filter dryer. But in case we already have a bad cooling performance, we have already some noisy behavior of the compressor, and we have color inside, then this is definitely a repair job. Then you need,
especially if you find metallic parts in it, then it's probably a topic of the compressor itself. But I think in general, both devices together used with a customer beside you makes it easy to explain why there are upcoming costs toward the customer.
Yeah. What are we doing if the refrigerant is not okay, if it's contaminated? Of course, we also have a solution for that situation. Okay, we have, of course, a professional solution. We never open the valve, we never mention it, because in the meantime, this is a criminal act in terms of environmental contamination. So this manual pump together with this disposal bottle here is the way how to get rid of any material without contaminating the environment. So I connect this to high pressure, and with this manual pump, this looks tiny, nice, but don't underestimate this. This pump can do 500 to 600 grams in 5 minutes, really.
Because why do we use a manual pump?
Yeah, as we don't know of which composition the gas is, we could have a normal mixture between 134A or 1234YF. We could also have simple hydrocarbons like propane and butane, and we could have a mixture which is flammable or which is even an explosive mixture. And in order to avoid any danger, it definitely makes sense to work with this simple mechanic device. Because using an electric compressor, an electric drive compressor, is then very sensitive to explosive mixtures of gas. And at 5% of hydrocarbons in the air, you can start a fire.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. If we have done so, we also are able to offer professional service, at least here in Germany, but this is transferable to any country of the world because all the manufacturers of technical gases offer such kind of a service because it's also valuable to them. In our case, we have, just as an example, this sample bottle for analysis. And the service is consisting of a pickup, an analysis, and a disposal job. And you are deciding as a customer of which kind of service you want to have. So this is a service you can find pretty sure on the web. And the benefit is you have a sheet of paper as a proof that you really disposed it professionally and did not expose it to the environment. Yeah,
I think over time this is useful to have the documentation. What have you done with the old gas?
yeah. You are accountable in front of the
that's
government.
topic.
You need to have a balance between the
What you buy
refrigerant
and
bought
what
in
you
and sold
give
out.
back. Yep, right.
And if you have a lot of bought in but almost nothing sold out, or the other way around, this is making you suspicious. And then they do an investigation. They search your inventory.
That's right. What I still have in my head, looking to the inspector glass, now your liquid is almost like water, clear. Very, very often you will find this with yellow color. What's about that topic?
Yeah, okay, yellow color as such, you must look, normally there is an exact line between the oil filling and the refrigerant. Okay, in that case not, because everything is in new condition. But you could have the situation that somebody was replacing maybe the compressor and left the old oil inside, and so the oil is accumulating up, and you could have a share of 50% or more of oil into in the circuit, which also is decreasing the cooling performance, but nobody knows. And oil is the problem of oil is it cannot evaporate. It cannot create
freezing.
cooling performance,
Yeah.
but it's just working around. And at the other end, you receive liquids in the low pressure side and at the sensitive side of the compressor, and you could cause a damage by that.
Yep.
So a liquid damage.
Yep.
And therefore, we strongly recommend a flushing procedure using a flushing device. That's the professional way of doing it. Or let's say it's the economical way of doing it. Of course, if you want to go safe, you can replace all the lines and components, all the hoses, the condenser, the evaporator, compressor, everything. This is, of course, the safe way, but this is most costly way. Imagine just a compressor, if you put it on the table, already costs 4 character sum of money, 1,000, 1,500. And together with all the jobs to be conducted, to prepare the AC system for the flushing, you need to manipulate, replace, or adapt the expansion valve. You need to remove the filter dryer if possible. If the filter dryer is welded together with the condenser, then you need to replace the condenser anyway.
Yeah.
And we're also talking about a few €100. Yeah, and the economical way would be to prepare the system, to adapt it to the vehicle. We have a nice graph where this adaptation can be shown. And the secret of this device is simply that we have a 5-liter container inside, and this 5-liter container is being vacuumized together with the AC system, which is then in total giving, for instance, 6.5 liters of vacuum. And what is this vacuum for? We need to generate a very high speed of flow of the refrigerant, so that the refrigerant takes every kind of liquid, every residue, every shavings or whatever material out of the system and into this flushing kit.
And
So,
as we do that reverse of the standard flowing direction, we will splash out everything what is inside.
exactly. The only thing is we need to reach a flow speed which is comparable to the normal operation speed. And this thereby we grant to really get rid of all the residues inside, because the normal story is you shut off the AC, the material gets to a standstill, and then it's demixing itself. So the oil is going down to the ground, and the refrigerant can evaporate to higher points.
So the positive aspect here, just talking about a condenser, is over time, even oil will stay in the condenser in the lower part, in the bottom part. And as the valve is dismounted and just, yeah, bridged by a hose, you flush even the old oil in the condenser out with the liquid of the refrigerant. So even these things are cleaned up then afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is also the reason why we use refrigerant, because we do not want any other kind of contamination in the system. And for this flushing job, there is also a demand. For instance, Volkswagen requires, if you replace any component inside the car, they are demanding at least 3 cycles in a series. With a new refrigerant, they even demand 4 cycles in a series to really make sure that everything is completely coming out.
I got a question from the chat. Do all connectors are included on the flushing kit?
This is a very good point. Of course, we do have. So we have, first of all, the normal connection line, because with one of these hoses, of course, we go into the system as shown in this diagram. So we have, of course, connectors for every kind of gas, where you can adapt the machine to the system here.
To the YF gas or to the A gas?
Exactly, to the YF gas and the A gas, and it's all coming in this little bag here. And so basically you can use it together with all kinds of units even.
You can use it with all kinds of units, so service units, as well all kinds of vehicles. But what we don't have actually is a specific connection set for each specific model of vehicle.
So, and there we are talking about the connection to the compressor entry line, because where we enter the system not over the service couplers or the service terminals here. These we leave out. We enter the system over the compressor, let's say flange or whatever you want to say. In the past, they have been separated. Today, you have a complete flange containing LPL and HP. And this is something which you really need to adapt according to the manufacturer of the compressor. You can use universal rubber cones, but you also these special adapters are available together with a 1/4 inch SAE thread on the end, and to connect any kind of service equipment in it here.
Well, that's depending of the deliverer of these service connectors.
Yeah, just one thing needs to be taken into account. It looks quite easy, and the machine does the job within 1 or 2 hours at maximum, all 4 cycles. But the main time consumption of this job is the preparation job of the vehicle, because already looking at this one, you need to have access to the expansion valve, which is very tricky in that case. Here you have a lot of disassembling jobs, and you need to prepare the system, which takes at least half a day until you can start flushing the system.
Depending of the model, depending of the location of the valve, depending of the location of the dryer. So these are a lot of circumstances which could make it difficult.
Truck is very nice. Passenger car is quite bad.
So I'm proud that I'm working at WABCOWÜRTH. So our main domain is the truck or the buses. Even on the buses, well, there is also not so easy going. The kit serves you well, but in the buses, normally you don't make the flushing of the system through the whole system. You make them section by section.
This
So
definitely makes sense.
You take the pipes, you take the evaporators, you take each single section and flush it over there.
Yeah, and this is a simple reason. Therefore, this volume is simply not enough, because if you want to really flush an entire bus, for instance, we are talking about 10, 20, 30 meters of lines and a lot of filters and containers in between. And to do this all with one cycle or with one device, it would take us a reserve of 20-30 kilograms to go through it.
Sufficient. Imagine for the car, you are flushing with round about 3.5 kilo, and the regular amount is 500 grams, something more or less.
Yeah.
So you're using 6 times the amount of the needed liquid. And now take a bus talking about 10 to 15 kilos.
Yeah.
So 6 times more or less, we are talking about 70, 80 kilos.
And the pressure is exhausted in the middle of the system, and we have no effect at all.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there you do it section by section. And there, the same topic, for each piece, there is a coupling system available from the manufacturer of the system. And I think that's not a good way that we deliver everything, because if you would like to buy a set to flush all the vehicles, you need a trailer to pick up all the couplings.
Okay. In the past 20 years, in the beginning, it was quite easy. You had 20 adapters and were covering 80% of the market. But then thereafter, a lot of competition went on in the compressor production. Everybody tried to sell his compressors to the car makers. And then a huge volume of versions and compressor manufacturers was then to be found on the cars. Only Volkswagen at the moment has a variety of approximately 70 to 90 different compressor adapters. Just imagine that. But then thereafter, the cost went too high, and they went back to a few standard models. So I think in the near future, we are able to offer such a set or a kit of adapters for compressor adaptation.
Another question from the chat. Where can I get spare parts of the flushing kit? For example, the dryer, a filter.
Oh, very good. Yeah, of course. Filter is a very important topic, because I forgot to mention that we have here a little helper on top. Helper in terms of, I have another looking glass where I can look for the condition, the color of the refrigerant passing through when coming out. And of course, I have a fine filter, or let's say no, it's not. It's a coarse filter, because we only avoid this refrigerant to contaminate our service unit.
Yeah.
And okay, the regular case is that after 5 cycles, we have to replace this cartridge inside this white cartridge, which is, by the way, the same we use in the Y50A. So. Yeah, and spare parts are available on our parts manager from the standard homepage. Just go to parts manager, go for AC, and then the accessories, flushing kit, and so on, and you will find every part with the right and actual part reference number.
So it's easy to order via your sales rep, which is taking care of you.
Exactly. Yeah, one thing I almost forgot to mention, we have here this little tab on the bottom here. After every treatment of any car, please drain this bottle inside, because all the residues are trapped in this flushing kit here. And if we do not drain it, then the volume will decrease and decrease until it's completely full with oil. And we want to get rid of this stuff and not collect it. Put it on the oil sump overnight, and the other day you can collect it again. I think
we're done. I hope we don't.
We should have covered everything for the topic of accessories. Yeah, so me as well.
I say a little wink.
Thank you very much
Bye-bye.
for attending. Thank you very much for your time. See you next time.